Hi everybody and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. This post is from the subreddit Am I the A-hole and it's by user Deleted. Am I the a-hole for spending Christmas and New Year with my ex-in-laws because my family invited my ex over for Christmas? Basically, we split after she came out as a lesbian at the start of 2025. We're both 42 now and we're together for nearly 17 years. I wanted no contact with her, which I've been able to avoid her relatively well. My family had a relationship with her, which I can't avoid. Their excuse is that she's been in their life so long, she's part of the family herself, but it hasn't affected me up until now. My ex and her own family always got along, and I had a great relationship with them myself, particularly her mom. When she came out, they all fell out and they disowned her. They're from a Caribbean background, so there's an element of homophobia there. The original plan for Christmas and New Year's was that I was going to spend the time at my folks'. It would have been nice after the year I've had. However, at the start of December, my mom told me she spoke to my ex and she had no one to spend Christmas with, so she invited her to have dinner with us. I wasn't happy with that at all, and my mom basically said she hates the thought of someone having no one at Christmas. So I said, I don't think I want to go and I'd rather spend Christmas on my own. She thought I was being dramatic. I, not long after that, received a Christmas card from my ex-in-laws, so I rang them and thanked them. It was lovely to catch up, and my ex-mother-in-law asked me what I'm doing for Christmas. I said about my situation, and I don't think I'm going to my folks, and she invited me to spend Christmas with them and said I'm always welcome. I said, why not, and I'd go and stay with them. I told my mom a few days before I'm definitely not going, and she was gutted, saying I should reconsider. I went to my ex's family, and I had a great time. They made proper Caribbean food, curry goat, and I enjoyed their company. I enjoyed it so much that I stayed until the new year. I'm definitely going to stay in contact. I even reconnected with my ex-sister-in-law while I was there. I dare to say there was a bit of flirtation there, but I didn't act on it, although I still might. The year's young yet. She did give me her number and said we can go out anytime. When I got back home yesterday, my mom was angry with me. She said I ruined Christmas and I was a bad person for spending time with people like my ex-in-laws. Apparently, loads of people in my family aren't happy with me too. Am I the a-hole for spending time with my ex-in-laws over my own family because they invited my ex? Oof, OP, this is a kind of difficult situation because there's a lot of stuff going on. So let's take this one bite at a time. I don't think you're an a-hole for going to your ex-in-laws Christmas and New Year. They invited you. Would I have gone? Probably not, but I can't fault you for it. And regarding your mom and her logic, I think it kind of collapses on itself. I mean, she said she can't bear the thought of somebody being alone at Christmas, basically choosing your ex, making you be alone at Christmas. So you accepted the invitation to go with your in-laws. Regardless of the reason why your marriage ended, you're still hurt. And that's totally understandable. So it's understandable that you wouldn't want to be around her. Now, your mom inviting her over, well, just pushed you out, and she chose her over you. So that's my take on that. Now, what you're doing with your ex-sister-in-law, I'd say, no, you don't want that. Why would you invite this level of drama into your life? I couldn't for sure say it would make you an a-hole, but it would definitely make you a moron. And what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments section, and now let's check out the community comments. Maximum Nice 39 says, not the a-hole. You told your mom. She decided the ex's company was more important than yours. Andriel Aisling says, your mom hates the idea of someone being alone for Christmas, so invited your ex over, who she knew you went no contact with. And when you explained that you would leave for being alone for Christmas, she doubled down on picking your ex over you. Going no contact with someone means they did real harm to you. Your mom put someone who hurt you deeply over you. Your mom said she would rather you be alone for Christmas or suck it up, buttercup, and be manipulated into being around someone who hurt you enough to go no contact. This is the core, not the ex-in-laws' beliefs, effed up though they are. Your mom can kick rocks. She has no right to be pissy with you for not going along with her BS plan to emotionally manipulate you into being a doormat. Your ex-in-laws have growth work to do. I hope they are able to get beyond the seed of hate that was planted in them and move towards being the loving people they otherwise appear to be demonstrating themselves to be. Beach Not Broken says, a bit hypocritical that your mom said you're a bad person for spending time with your ex-in-laws when they chose to do the same. And like many, I don't agree with homophobia. However, your ex did hurt you and your family seemed to have glossed over that part, not the a-hole. Dokadart says, not the a-hole. If your mother hadn't invited your ex, you would have been there. She said she didn't want someone to be alone at Christmas. Well, you didn't want to be alone at Christmas either. Additional information from Opie's comments. I'm not doing this to spite her. I'm doing it because I don't have anyone else that truly cares about me, and they do. My family showed me they didn't care if their son was alone just because someone else would be, whereas those people welcomed me. I do have friends, but no one invited me, and I'm not rude enough to go, I'm alone on Christmas, can I come to your house? It may be sad to some of you that I spent time with them, but I felt the least alone I've felt all year. And no, I don't want to be friends with my ex because she broke my heart and wasted my life. Some of the things I found out wrecked me. She did lie to me. She admitted she chose me because I was a nice guy and not like her abusive ex, and not that she was attracted to me. She also admitted she secretly didn't enjoy sex, wasn't attracted to my body, and had to imagine being with women to get off. She told me she never was in love, but loved me like a friend or family member, and expects me to remain friends? Lol. We're separated and divorced, so now I got to start over again, middle-aged, with all this baggage, no money, and I just about had enough to put a deposit on a crappy flat I can just about afford to keep going and survive each month. I certainly wasn't about to give her one more day of my time, pretend like nothing happened, so no, I'm not about to keep someone in my life who essentially conned me and stole 17 years of it. I get the impression people here have a problem with me being close with her family, yet think it's okay for her to steal mine. My problem is that my family weren't there for me, yet were there for someone who ruined my life essentially. If I'm a jerk, it's because I've been raised by jerks. And yep, I probably am being petty, vindictive, and bitter. I lost 17 years of my life to someone I'd literally have died for, only to find out they never truly loved me anyway. And my family, friends, and the whole world are choosing her over me and begrudge me any company or comfort just because they don't like the people who are actually looking out for me. The top comments of the community agree OP was not the a-hole for going to the ex-in-laws, but there was a lot of pushback regarding the in-laws being bigots. So now, let's move on to the update to see how this story ends. This week, I had some missed calls from my cousin's daughter's number. Second cousin? Not sure of the technical term. Her and my mom are close, and she was like a little sister to me as a teenager, as she looked after her for her mom when she went to work. So I rang her back, and she went off her head at me, calling me every piece of crap under the sun. I tried to give her my side. She wasn't having any of it, so I basically told her to F off. She blabbed to her own mom, who then sends me message after message on her social media about how I spoke to her daughter, a neffing 30-year-old woman no less, and how I'm treating my mom. I just blocked her. I'll probably hear about it soon enough. She's a narcissist who lies to make herself look better, so will no doubt spin it to my uncle, other cousins, and everyone who'll listen. I don't care. If anyone else says crap, I'll block them and cut them off and all. It's obvious there my mom's been talking crap about it, so I basically rang her and confronted her. She admitted it, that she told people because she was hurt. I said basically she has no idea of the word, and she, my dad, and ex hurt me more than anything I could do to them. I told her I don't want to talk anymore and don't bother ringing me again. I won't bother ringing her. I got some texts later from her, really long ones, and I just deleted them without reading and blocked her number for now. Since I haven't been speaking to her, not just this week but since Christmas, regularly, I've been much less stressed. It's made me realize how much I'm leeched off by her. For all my adult life, she's rang me twice a day and we speak for at least half an hour each time. Well, I say we speak, it's usually a case of her talking and me listening. And it's all trauma dumping too. The past few years it's been worrying about my dad, worrying about her health, worrying about the dog, crying about certain cousins who died, even talking about how she thinks she's going to die. Effing twice a day, I've had it for years. Ironically, my ex used to say I deserve a medal for putting up with it for so long. And now she's up their asses. How does that work? Despite the situation being crap, I feel like a burden's been lifted. I heard from my ex-mother-in-law. I wished her Happy New Year and she messaged me back and we've been texting back and forth. It feels like a genuine conversation, like someone who actually cares about what I have to say. She said I'm invited to her birthday due in March and I am going to go. I know that won't be popular with you who say I shouldn't be in touch with bigots or the like, but they're the only people on earth at the moment who cares about me and I dare say love me. So I'm not about to give that up and be on my own. I've also messaged my ex-sister-in-law back too. We've spoken a bit. She's not looking for anything serious as she's just out of a bad relationship herself. So it'll be a casual friends with benefit thing more likely. Suits me as that's where I am too. We might hook up soon actually. Not gonna lie, very excited about the prospect. Well, Opie, I gotta say, I'm really sorry for the situation that you're in. You either take the only love that you're being offered by people who are bigots, or you just need to go through all of this trauma alone with nobody in your corner. I hope you heal soon and maybe you can get some help to work through it. Take care, Opie, and thanks for sharing. And now let's move on to the next post that also has an update. This post is from the subreddit Am I the A-hole and it's by user McHead. Would I be the a-hole for not naming my baby after my dead father-in-law? My husband and I are expecting our first baby. We're very excited, but it's dampened by the obvious gap in our family. My father-in-law, who died 2 years ago. My husband is about to become a father and his role model, his dad, isn't here. It's been a real intense few months as we prepare. I'm 30 weeks along and we don't know the baby's sex. We want to find out when we meet our kid, but I also want us to have a few names ready to go. The issue is that my husband is insistent that we name the baby after his dad, a name father-in-law didn't even like. He felt it was old-fashioned and didn't suit him. Him not liking his name was like the third thing I learned about him. He was very vocal about it. Husband won't budge. If it's a boy, he wants to give him father-in-law's exact name, first, middle, and obviously last. If it's a girl, he's open to a feminized version, think Thomasin or Johanna, but worse, because those are actual names, and there are no feminized versions of father-in-law's name. He's also not open to a similar name, think Calvin and Alvin, and to be honest, selfishly, I don't like father-in-law's name and I have my own family members I'd like to honor with this baby. I'm open to making father-in-law's first name our baby's middle name, regardless of sex, but my husband is not. It's first name or bust as far as he's concerned. He's told me he will have a very hard time forgiving me if I don't let him memorialize his dad in this way. I feel like I should just give in on the condition that I get full naming rights for our second child, assuming we have another. But a part of me is like, no, I'm cooking this baby. I should have a say. But he's also going through it. So would I be the a-hole if I held the line and refused to make father-in-law's first name my baby's first name? Well, in my opinion, naming a baby or naming a child is a 2 yes, 1 no kind of situation. And this weird ultimatum, I'm going to have a hard time forgiving you if you don't let me memorialize my father with our child. I'm sorry, but that just sounds weird. If you want to pay tribute to somebody you loved so much, you don't do that by naming a kid after them. I think that kind of sucks for the kid. In my opinion, if you do want to pay tribute, then you keep the memories alive. You tell stories about the person. You show pictures about the person to your kids and you tell them how awesome they were or whatnot. That's how legacy is kept. And final, in your case, even your father-in-law didn't like the name. That should be a big hint for your husband. So in my opinion, no, Opie, you wouldn't be the a-hole, but you do need to talk to your husband because this threat of him not forgiving you, that shouldn't dampen the fact that you guys are about to become parents. And what do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's check out the community comments. mdubs8 says, not the a-hole, and I hate the way he's trying to emotionally manipulate you. I'll have a really hard time forgiving you if you don't give me what I want. Flowers from Flames says, names are too yes, so as you have said no, he had to pick something else. You don't have to immortalize someone who's died with naming. Go plant a tree with a plaque or something. This is a new life, not a redo for dad. Drama Llama Mill says, not the a-hole. Quote, he's told me he will have a very hard time forgiving me if I don't let him memorialize his dad in this way. End quote. Oh yeah? I'd have a hard time forgiving him for holding my baby's entire name as emotional hostage. The baby already has your father-in-law's surname. You made this baby together. You are the one risking life and health growing it. Where is the care for you and your opinion? You aren't trying to impose your own choices or flat out refuse. You are just looking for some attempt at compromise because you do also care about his opinion. I would be so hurt and insulted that this is being met with threats instead of appreciation. Giving up any input into your own child's name when A, it is never certain that you'll have another, and B, who knows what close relatives of his might require honoring at that stage is risky and really only skates around the core of the problem. And Imsortofox says, I had a similar conflict with husband over our last kid. His father had died the year before. Mother-in-law got wind of it, not from me, stepped in and said not to name the baby after father-in-law. Father-in-law was a very broken man, and putting a name loaded with that kind of family baggage was not a good idea. Appeal to his mother unless the grief is still fresh. She can remind him about how much his dad hated the name. Maybe father-in-law told mother-in-law at some point what name he would have chosen if he could have. In Jewish tradition, we often use names that have the same first initials of still living family members when naming babies. Though your father-in-law has passed, you could use his dad's initials and choose names that start with the same letters. Not the a-hole for not wanting the name. This should be a joint decision, not a sole decision made by your husband. Community agrees OP is not the a-hole. So now let's move on to the update to see how this story ends. First, I'd like to thank you all for your comments on my last post. They were incredibly helpful and helped me feel much less alone and insane. A few people suggested that although waiting to find out the sex of our baby is a wonderful idea, knowing might be more helpful at this point because it might help my husband feel like the baby is real, if that makes sense. Those comments stuck with me, and that's ultimately what ended up happening. I'm thrilled to report back that 1. We'll be welcoming a son into our lives and home, and 2. That shortly after we learned the sex, my husband turned to me and said, hey, we can't name him father-in-law's name. We've had a few really great talks since then. I know it's a thing right now for women to come online, complain about their husbands, and then be like, no, he's great, I swear, when people rightfully drag them. But I can't stress enough how much of a departure the stubbornness was from his norm. In the last few weeks, we've talked about the mix of joy and intense sadness he's felt since I got pregnant, how his role model for fatherhood is gone, and how distressed he is that his dad will never meet our kids. He felt like, by giving our baby his dad's name, he'd maybe make the distance between life and death a little shorter. He's about to start grief counseling to help manage those complicated feelings ahead of the birth. We do have a few names in mind from the baby list we built before we were convinced. We've been trying out different combinations, trying to see what the baby reacts to when we address him. The top contenders share the initial of my father-in-law's first name, with my grandmother's maiden name as a middle name. Baby boy seemed to be a big fan of that one so far, and my mother-in-law is thrilled that her grandbaby won't get stuck with her ex-husband's much-loathed name. Lol. Thank you again for your kind words and affirmations. You weren't only a sounding board, but you gave me really great advice, and my marriage is stronger for it today. I can't thank you all enough. Well, OP, seems like everything worked out great. And it's a good thing that your husband's also gonna get some help for his grief. So here's wishing you both and future you three the best. Take care, OP, and thanks for sharing. And now let's finish this video with a mood booster post. This post is from the subreddit Petty Revenge, and it's by user DocFallout22. He did what? Several years ago, I was waiting in a grocery deli line to pick up some potato wedges for my wife. It wasn't a long line. I was fourth or fifth in line and the last person in it. Up walks some lady, that's what I'll call her, and what I presumed to be her daughter or granddaughter. Anyway, some lady keeps trying to jump the line each time a person was served, and the patient deli worker kept telling her she needed to wait her turn, with some lady getting more and more frustrated that she could not just do what she wanted. Guy before me goes, and I hear her telling her granddaughter, "This is effing ridiculous, I just want some wedges." This being petty revenge, we know exactly what I planned to do upon hearing that. Finally, we get to my turn, and she tries to jump again, only this time I pipe up and let her know the end of the line is behind me. She did not like that at all, exclaiming, "This is BS. It's first come, first serve." The worker and I just stared at her until she walks back to her irritation area off to the side, and I see there are scant few potato wedges available. So I tell the worker I'll need more than what's available, and he says they'll need to drop some more, about a 5-minute wait. It was longer than that, closer to 10 as it turns out. Knowing what the lady wants and that it's not there, I say he can help her. They go through the same process, which irritates her further, but says something like, "Fine, might as well at this point," and steps aside in a huff. New wedges are brought out, and I see her start to move like she's going to jump in front of me, but I remind her I'm next to order. Deli guy asks how much I want, usually in pounds, and I quietly say, "I want all of the wedges." "All of them?" "All of them." He cracks a bit of a smile and says, "Sure thing," and gathers them up for me. I start to walk away slowly so I can see the aftermath, and shrilly she shouts, "He did what?" and rips her head around to me. Smirk smiley face. I wish I could